running a game for the Gauntlet called My Partner the Ghost. This is a game that I designed with Sam Zimmerman. It appears in Codex Ectoplasm 2, which came out in December 2020. I'm playing with David and with Chase. We are going to introduce our characters and then dive into the mystery. I reviewed safety tools with all the players. We are using XCard, we're using lines and veils, and we are using open table. And at the end of the session, we will do stars and wishes as well. David, you are first on the character keeper. Do you want to introduce your character first?
Sure. So I am David, he, him pronouns, and I am going to be playing as Rex McIntosh. He is a rough and tumble uh, investigative reporter for the Times Picayune down in New Orleans. And he's been, recently relegated to kind of less important stories, but he's about to get way, way in over his head with this most recent batch of mysteries that's about to come up.
Awesome. Thank you, Chase.
Hi, I'm Chase. Go by any pronouns. My character is Evelyn Romero, she, her, and she is a ghost recently due to clerical error. She is down to a time limit to figure out how to help solve these mysteries with her on and off relationship with Rex before everything is gone forever.
Awesome. That sounds great. Um, so we are in New Orleans. We are in the 1930s or thereabouts. And Rex, you said, Rex, you're an investigative reporter. Did I get that right?
Yes, I think we're going with the journalist angle for this guy.
All right. All right. That sounds great. Um, Maybe you are. I think we need to go into the jazz club scene, and um, I'm wondering if maybe this doesn't start out as a murder, but you are sent to go investigate something else or to go report on something else that's happening in the clubs. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, something along those lines. Kind of doing
And
some brainstorming myself, but that sounds like a good starting point.
maybe the um, I wonder if it's some kind of, is there something illegal happening in a back room in the jazz club, or uh, is there some kind of shakedown happening? What do you think?
Well, let me see here. One thing that you definitely could see around this time in history is like a clip joint kind of a thing. It's basically like a nightclub, but it's a place where like the customers are basically tricked often by women who are hired to kind of lure them in into paying like tons of money for like really terrible services, usually like because they think they might be able to date some of these women or something like that. And a lot of these places are just really just cover-ups for the mob or for the mafia or something like that. So it totally could just be a front for organized crime. And I'm there like pretending to be interested
Okay.
in what's going on there, but actually I'm trying to do a little bit of undercover case cracking to blow the whole thing wide open.
Okay. Is it possible that you are there? Are you investigating the mob, or are you investigating maybe the mob's uh, connection to corrupt officials?
I think the politics angle is the way to go. I
Yeah.
think that makes a lot more sense for what I would be doing as a journalist. So yeah, we'll go with that. There's one guy I've got my eye on, and I'm trying to pin him with some connection to a crime or something like that.
All right. You know what I need to be doing is taking notes because I will not remember anything. So give me just a sec. I wonder who this politician might be. What do you call these clubs?
They're called clip joints. There's a, I'll put it in the chat. There's a Wikipedia page on them. They're a thing.
Making stuff up, huh? No, just kidding.
No, I promise there's.
I
But
promise.
yeah, it's a little bit like a what do you call those things that they had during
Scams.
Prohibition?
Speakeasy.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a speakeasy. It's kind of in the same vein as that.
I see. So they get lured in thinking that they're going to get some really great entertainment, and the booze is watered down, and the entertainment is subpar, and then they get shook down for more money. That is
Sounds
fantastic.
lucrative.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe the politician is here because they are in on it. They're in on the scam. Seems like they wouldn't be here to get serviced because
Oh, like if they invested in the club.
Maybe I like that. Like they own it or like a part owner in it.
this is great. Let's do this. So you're kind of acting as, you're going undercover. So you're going to act as kind of a John to try and become a customer of this club.
Something along those lines, right? So we could kind of have me doing one of two things as far as I'm thinking of it. Either we could start kind of immediately outside the club and you could have this nice like street side scene where I envision it as being kind of towards winter. So it's New Orleans, it's not like cold, but it's just really wet and dreary and everything is lit up, not by street lights, but it's New Orleans, so it's all like
It's just
flaming gas lanterns kind of like flickering and the shadows are dancing around in the background. You could do that, or I could be maybe inside talking to one of these so-called hostesses who's really just there to lure guys in and get them to spend money on the place. And I'm trying to subtly question her into revealing more information or giving me a lead somewhere.
Okay.
Either one of those sound like a fine way to start for me.
Yeah. I'm going to call this place Club Bliss. Does that sound all right?
Bliss?
Bliss.
Bliss, okay.
Let's put you in the club. You're being approached by one of the hostesses, and she asks you, "Is there anything I can get you to drink?"
I'll order a stiff Manhattan.
She says, "Very good. Is there anything else I can get you?"
Well, since you were so kind as to ask, I could use a bit of company tonight if you're not too tight on time.
I'll find someone who can help you out with that. And she goes off. I think Evelyn has manifested, right? You're sort of now following Rex around.
Yeah, I can be.
So is there any reason why you well, let's assume that you're here, and have you just manifested, or have you been following Rex for a while, or have you just found Rex? What do you think?
I would say maybe like a week ago,
Okay.
because he's goes in deep into his journaling and all his work and never had enough time for me. But I'm going to, and then I found him finally and just stalked him around, being kind of bitter but protective in a way.
Right. Well, I mean, go ahead.
Oh, as of right now, I'd probably be a little miffed that he even dared to.
Well, yeah, I think I mean, he hasn't really done anything too serious until now, and now all of a sudden he's showing up at this joint and he's asking women for their company. So you're getting, is it anger? Is it irritation? Is it annoyance? Like what? What is the
Close to, I think, like a frustration that I can't like walk in front and between them and actually yell at them in a way.
right?
So it's this frustration building up, and I'm just like, oh, how dare she's not even a high society person who's worth the time, let alone the money.
That was amazing. Rex, you're feeling annoyance. Like, what, how does that manifest in you? Like, that was not where your head was at, I would assume.
Right, right. I think that I would displace the annoyance onto where's the drink? I'm like checking my watch. I'm
Nice.
fiddling around here, like drumming my fingers on the table and just getting kind of restless at this point.
Well, and
But
also you're here to find this politician, right? I assume you got maybe a lead that the politician was here this
right.
night. So
Yeah,
you're
I'm trying to get some girl who knows where he would be to come sit down, and she thinks she's playing me, but in reality, I'm trying to shake her down to figure out where this guy is, so I can, get some photographs or at least some kind of documentation as to what he's up to.
that's great. Hang on, I need a name of a politician. Oh wait, we're in New Orleans, so I could use Cajun names.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So you are looking for Oscar Rome.
I love it.
I don't know how I played these games before there were name generators. I just don't know how that even happened. And Oscar Rome, any ideas for what position he serves in the government? Is he a civil servant or is he an elected official?
Elected official. Yeah, he's definitely betraying the people's trust here.
Not mayor feels a little too high up.
He could probably have something to do with imports and exports. New Orleans is kind of a big port city, and I could see the mafia having a hand in smuggling. And he's allowing some of that to just kind of happen.
Oh my gosh.
Just goes under the radar,
Right. So we'll make up the idea that New Orleans and maybe the greater metro area gets to elect some kind of port manager or someone who oversees the port. So that's great. So your companion sits down and she's brought over the Manhattan. She sits down. I'll be honest, I personally don't know anything about cocktails. I don't drink. So I don't know what a Manhattan's supposed to look like, but whatever it is, it looks like a very bad version of it. Super watered down, maybe slightly wrong color. And she sits down and she is not kind of the high class prostitute that
I said that.
that people would maybe expect, but you knew you were not going to get that here. What do you say to her?
I look down at it, and Manhattan is supposed to have this very dark caramel amber color to it, and you can see through this thing. It's practically transparent. They put so much water in it. It's garbage.
Right, it looks like tea. Yes.
Right. It's like, yeah, it's got this kind of like faint tea color, but it's not at all what you want, and that would stand out to Rex. I imagine ever since Evelyn left the picture, he's been maybe hitting the bottom a little bit more than he used to, so he's knowledgeable about this kind of stuff. But what I'll do is I'll kind of take a sip of it, try to fake some kind of enjoyment of it, and then I'll say to this person, yeah, that's real nice. Say, Why don't you sit down for a minute? Let's talk for a bit, huh? I'll make it worth your time. Don't worry about it.
She sits down. She's like, "My name's Natalie. What's your name?"
My name, you can call me Rex, Natalie. Tell me, Natalie, you've been working here for too long? I don't think I've ever seen you here before. I say, lying about my having never been here before.
Um, she says, "Well, maybe you haven't been here recently. I've been here 6, 7 months now, ever since I came in from Atlanta."
Is that so, Atlanta? Fine town, I say, thinking to myself, it's not. And I'll say, if you've been working here so long, I have to say I'm pretty impressed with what they've done with the place. Uh, if I might ask, who's managing tonight, huh?
Um, she says, Frank. He's here every night.
Frank, huh? No kidding. Is he one of the owners of the place? He's done a bang up job with it.
Frank's been here forever. He's been the manager forever. He doesn't own the place though.
Oh, no kidding. Well, if he's not the owner, then I gotta know who's in charge of this place. I know all kinds of people who'd like to take a share in this place, or at least like to report on it or something. I've got people in high places I know. Speaking of, you're a real fine-looking girl. I think I could definitely find you a place to work that's far, far higher class than this.
She does start to cuddle up, but I think she's maybe a little suspicious. Like, she's not very bright, so she's like not really understanding why you're asking all these questions. Evelyn, help me understand, like, where as a ghost you are. Are you
Yeah.
sitting next to Rex? Are you standing? Are you in one corner? Like, ghost
I
speaking, where are you?
I am again. I'm sitting next to Rex, but not really. I kind of like leaned up against the bar, leaning over like over his shoulder to glare at Natalie, like laying eyes on him. It's like, look at her. She's not even bright enough to understand questions. Why even bother? And I just ramping up the frustration of why even communicate with these people.
Rex, how does that manifest in you?
I think that he's gonna get a little snippy with Natalie at the first opportunity. Like as soon as there is a even perceived slight, I think he's gonna start to get a little bit reactive, and this cool persona that he's so carefully put on himself is gonna start to slip a little bit.
Um, as you are kind of struggling to sort of get a handle on that, Evelyn, you realize that one of the bartenders is looking at you. And it turns out, when you look back at him, it turns out he is a ghost, a former bartender who died and is now haunting the bar. He is he is standing there cleaning a glass, kind of glaring at you, and he says to you,
Rude.
"I've not seen I haven't seen you before."
Well, no, of course not. I would have walked in here with my own 2 feet, even if I were alive. And I will like walk closer to where he is at the bar, like kind of lean forward and be like, not the brightest bunch that you have here in this place.
He says, "I like you. You're absolutely right. These people are idiots. They haven't figured out that the bar, that Club Bliss, is haunted."
Well, that is one problem. And I kind of look him up and down, like, and then I look back over to Rex and be like, actually, I have a question for you. Maybe you're smarter than these bunch. Where is the owner?
Oh, that's good. Trying to think if we should roll for this.
Probably, right?
Possibly is right. This would be an individual move,
Where are we rolling?
but we haven't really started the investigation.
Okay.
Nobody's dead yet.
Okay.
Let's actually take a little detour I was
Gotcha.
thinking Natalie would go off and scream and find um, the Oscar Rome dead in the back. Does that sound okay to you all, or were you? I guess David specifically, were you hoping Oscar was still alive?
No, that's fine. We could totally play it up to where, because I'm so irritable and moody, I finally angered her enough that she leaves in kind of a huff and goes off to a back room, and that's when the scream breaks out or something like that.
Actually, I like where this is going. So the dead bartender introduces himself as Billy, Billy Blue, and Billy says to Evelyn, um, "This used to be a nice place. I know, doesn't look like it, but um, then some jerk named Oscar Rome bought it or bought part of it, and it really started to go downhill."
You think with a bigger name, the place will go up instead of down?
Well, I think the people of New Orleans know what they were getting when they elected Oscar Rome.
Hmm.
Maybe this is a good time for Natalie to kind of walk to the back.
Mhm.
Rex, what did you say to kind of irritate her?
Um, I imagine that I was trying to get information out of her, and either she was willfully obstructing me, or she was just so kind of airheaded that she didn't get really what I was trying to get at. So she was talking about getting me more drinks. And so I'm probably sitting there like 2 drinks in at this point, and it's all just water. And
Right.
eventually I snap at her and say something along the lines of, look, you're the kind of gal who's got a big old $sign where you're supposed to have a heart. Are you gonna answer the questions?
I
Or
also feel like
what?
I also feel like she's sort of I mean, her whole shtick is to try and uh, provide services for you, and you're like not interested in that side. Like you're not playing into that
Yeah,
side at all. So she's
yeah.
also kind of like, "What did I do? Like, why is he not doing this?" Right.
Right, right. So I'm calling her selfish because she definitely gets a cut of any drinks that she's able to get me to purchase.
Right.
Um, and that's where I guess I
Yeah. So
irritate her.
she goes off in a huff. Before we got a few minutes. Um, uh, okay for us to end on the scream, or should we maybe we kind of take it a little after the scream? But I'd like to paint the scene a little bit here. Let's get a feeling of what this Club Bliss looks like. So I don't know, David, maybe can you give us a sense of the layout of this place? Is it kind of seedy under, like you have to walk down? What do you think?
I envision that you've got kind of a two-tier, like it's a two-story kind of open concept room. I wish I could words right now, but basically you walk in through these kind of big, heavy wooden double doors, and you have to descend a small staircase. We're talking 5, 6 steps down to the dance floor, and immediately you walk into an aisle. Situated on either side are these really nice dining tables. They're round, tablecloths, nice napkins, silverware. They make the place up to look very reputable. In front of the tables, further into the club, you've got kind of a dance floor against which is set a stage, and you've got a jazz band up there playing some kind of seedy jazz tunes, and you've got some people dancing around doing their, yeah, like you do. I imagine that you have kind of a stairway off to the side that kind of spirals up to a second story that has kind of a balcony that looks out over the dance floor. And tucked away on both stories, you have maybe like a bar set up. And then there are, of course, doors tucked to kind of go backstage against the very back walls.
And
And
you
the
say
whole
it's
thing is very ornate, fancy, like curtains and stuff hanging everywhere. It's a big fire hazard.
right, and it's open. So like from the first floor, I can look up and see the second floor. Is that what you?
Correct. Yep. It's like an overlooking balcony kind of setup that they've got going there. And there's like little tables and there's like people, maybe on dates, just the two of them up on the kind of tables up top, that sort of thing.
That's that's perfect. And Chase, I feel like maybe the management has been experimenting with different themes to try and dress the place up a bit. What do you think the theme is that they're using to decorate the place?
I think like maybe celestial bodies, but because it's like stars,
So
moons, things like that to kind of like dazzle razzle. I said that backwards. Razzle dazzle the patrons, but also they can use it as an excuse to use really dim lighting and like kind of flickering mirror lights and things like that.
that's awesome. Yeah, like the mirror lights kind of make for stars. They tried to do it. It's like maybe bad paper mache planets and
E-
things.
Even the drinks could be like, all this ice is stars, I promise. It's not watering down these drinks at all.
What is the drink that they are known for? Would you say is there like a drink that they say anyway that they are known for, that they have a reputation for?
Probably something like super dramatic called like the Galaxy Cosmo, not just like a regular Cosmo, the Galaxy Cosmo.
That's good. It's like just tacky enough. That's
Yeah.
perfect. I love that. And you said there's a jazz band playing, David.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
All right, I like that. Maybe it's just a trio, right? They don't really can't really
Sure.
They don't want to spend too
they
much.
don't want to spend too much. Um, does the jazz band have a name? Just to put you on the spot.
I could probably come up with one if you gave me just a little bit of time to think on it. I'm thinking like the name of the like the leader of the band and then like the name of the
Oh,
band, like the whole, it's not
yeah.
Josie and the Pussycats, but the same kind of
Yeah.
concept.
Stand by. Wait. All right, so I'm going to use a Cajun name, Guy Gauthier, and wait for it, the Blissful Bunch.
I like it. Okay. Gauthier and the Blissful Bunch. So it's like a house band. It's there all the time. They're not. Okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
It's
poor
all their cousins and stuff that
yeah, Guy. I mean, you've got to. Yeah. It's like the drummer is always like he's got to get a new drummer every week or something. It's like the Spinal Tap of seedy New Orleans jazz bands. So that was great. Natalie goes to the back. You're there a few minutes. In fact, the band is about to they're kind of winding down their last song. They're taking a break. It kind of gets a little quiet, and at that moment, she screams in the back. I'm going to say maybe one of the bouncers heads towards the back, and the manager, let's call his name is Frank Cougar, is heading towards the back. Rex, you kind of hear the scream, and you see these patrons kind of looking up, looking around, and then the staff kind of making their way to the back. I feel like Billy, who is the dead bartender, says something kind of like I don't know, sort of a little bit. What am I trying to say? Cynical to Evelyn, like, well, that was inevitable, or something like that. Evelyn, how do you what do you do when you hear the scream?
well, the first thing I think of is, wow, she can't even keep it quiet. But then I slowly, like, just come off of the bar, wave at Billy Weekly, and like follow where the scream is.
Emotionally, where are you at? What sort of feeling are you broadcasting now?
Or not as much as annoyance anymore as I just want to get out of this building. So just kind of like anxious, want to move faster kind of thing.
Right,
Despite my movements being graceful, I am
right,
trying to get a move on.
right. Almost exasperated. Like,
Yeah.
all right, here we go. That's great. Rex, how does that manifest in you, and what do you do when you hear the scream?
And so the emotion is This is just exasperated. Like, is that what you're saying, Chase?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that I would just let out the, like, everyone else is super alarmed, and I think that I just let out this audible sigh that is very out of, ironically, attunement with everybody else. And I will grab my hat and take off towards the source of the scream, potentially shoving someone out of the way if need be, to get there first.
Nice. So I think you arrive in the back room. Maybe it's the office. And um, you see, I think you would know what Oscar Rome looks like. He's a public figure.
Sure.
I'm going to make some stuff up. Tell me if any of this sounds ridiculous. He's sitting in a chair. He's got a bullet hole in his shirt, his white shirt. But he's not in the chair behind the desk. He's like in the chair facing the desk, if that makes sense. Just to kind of make things interesting. It does look like, you know what? He's got a knife in his chest because it just happened and no one heard a bullet shot. So there was a stabbing, and if that's okay with you all, and maybe the office is rummaged around a bit. So maybe there's some papers, there's file drawers open, papers messed up. Maybe there's a safe in the wall that's been opened and is now empty. I'm trying to think. Any other details that you all can imagine that would be interesting?
So he's in an office, essentially, like a personal office.
Yes. Yeah.
I see. Is there anybody else present? I mean, other than Natalie, probably.
Yeah. So Natalie's now outside the office, hands in her head in her hands. Some of the other two other hostesses are kind of keeping her, trying to comfort her. I think Frank is back there. There's a bouncer back there, and I feel like maybe one other person. Any ideas who, like, what other role might be?
Like one of the servers that brings drinks to people.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Or maybe one of the cook person who cook and a server. I love that.
Sure.
That gives us something to play with. They don't have names yet, but they will. Um,
I think also Evelyn would take note of what Oscar is wearing.
oh, nice.
Like if it's like formal wear or if he was there to have a good time, or maybe she can just
Yeah, maybe he's the kind of douchebag that wears a tux everywhere he goes.
right.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. But his jacket is off. His bow tie is loosened, and there's a knife in his chest.
I see Natalie sobbing quietly, and she's got a couple of girls kind of clinging on to her, trying to comfort her. I'll just kind of look at them skeptically and poke my head around the corner and see this guy with this knife in his heart, and I'll kind of say to myself, stabbed in the heart. You should have met my Evelyn.
I know just how that feels. That was so good.
Offended.
Evelyn, how do you react to this? Are you the kind of person who would be frightened or anxious by
Yeah,
this?
I think she would be first shocked and just kind of stunned in place, seeing like somebody with a knife in their chest. Um, sure, she's felt that knife before in her chest, but not in this kind of way. And then probably go back around like the edge, like turn around from the body and then see Rex and just kind of like do what she does when she's scared, like whether they're like walking down the street and like some auspicious or ominous people hide like behind him and just
Nice.
look away politely, kind of.
I kind of love this as our ending note, like both of you experiencing this as sort of a metaphor for the heartbreak. And like you both have that feeling kind of at the same time. And Rex, I wonder if this feels so strongly in you that maybe this is, you start to wonder, like, is she really gone? You know, or is she here somehow? Because you've heard
Hmm.
ghost.
Yeah, right. There's just a faint, feel like I've been here before kind of sensation that comes along with it.
I
It's
love that.
me at your back.
Um, so one of the ways this game works is that you two generate a couple of questions based on this mysterious situation as a means for kind of driving the narrative forward. So let's like each kind of think of a question, um, and then we'll close out our session. Does that sound all right?
And what's the function of the question? Is it just to provide kind of fodder
Ways
for
to
like
get
leads and follow up?
Yeah, so basically, we'll continue to narrate, and when you find a clue, the clue will be an answer to the question. So I think we don't want something like who killed Oscar, right? Because that's pretty obvious. But maybe, like, I could suggest one like, why is the cook here,
right.
right?
So
Or
you're
maybe, or
this,
why is the safe empty, or you know,
why are there papers everywhere if they wanted the safe?
that's good. David, you have an idea?
Hmm. Who tucked the dead rose into his coat pocket so it was there instead of a corsage,
Okay.
right? He wouldn't have chosen that himself. Someone put that there to make a statement. There's like a dead rose, and it's like, is that a revenge thing? Did someone break his heart and now they killed him literally? Or, what's going on with that is kind of my thought
Are they
there.
marking him? What's happening?
That
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, is this like a serial murderer and this is their calling card? Like, who knows? Like,
right,
that's the
right.
sort of idea.
Love it. All right, so that just the things that we just threw out. There are now 4 questions. We can choose which one we want to pursue next time, and either drop others, or what. Okay, cool, friends. That was super fun, and I really love playing these games. So uh, we do something called Stars and Wishes. Chase, are you familiar with this
I've never
mechanism?
done this.
Yeah, so this is sort of like a little bit of a retrospective that we'll do, where we think about what was one thing that you really liked about today's session. That's the star, and then the wish is what is something that you want us to do differently, or that you want to see next time. So just a way for us to reflect on, should we be doing anything differently. Um, this is also a good time. If any of our content made you feel uncomfortable, we can bring that up here. So, David, just to get things rolling, do you mind starting? Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure. For stars, this is really just more of a thank you than a star, but thank you both of you for indulging the whole like hard-boiled noir thing. We didn't have to do that, but the fact that you were willing to is really appreciated. I have a lot of fun with it, and especially Chase, such a brilliant job of doing the like Southern Belle debutante kind of so judgmental. It was just really good characterization. I just love the haughty pompousness about it. It's just really fun. So stars to you for that. As far as wishes are concerned, I suspect this is gonna happen anyway, just because of how the game's mechanics works. But I would like to see um, maybe the beginnings of some direct interaction between Evelyn and Rex. Right now we're kind of doing our own thing. It'd be kind of interesting to just see what happens whenever there's more direct interaction. And maybe just additional scenes that feature Evelyn as like the focus. Just because maybe, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like I was a little bit more like spotlight tonight. And I would hate for that to always be the case. So that's just kind of things that I'm thinking about on my
That's
end.
great. That's great. And first time I played this game, um, and Chase, you might have seen this in the video. We had this long conversation about how do we make sure that the ghost is not just set dressing, right? How do we make sure that the ghost is a meaningful character here because you can't interact. Um, so I do want to throw more spiritual or ghostly characters in to give you someone to interact with. Billy the bartender didn't turn out to be as nearly as interesting as I'd hoped. But I also wonder, David, as you were talking, it made me think maybe we could do a flashback or two to when um, Evelyn was alive and you two were having your on again, off again thing. Does that sound all right?
Flashback sequences are appropriate.
Yeah, I was about to say that those happen all the time. And
I had a question actually when you were talking about that, Dan. Is it possible for there to be not just ghostly supernatural NPCs, but also ghostly clues? Like if we're in there, maybe there is like some kind of
like
spectral
Oslo.
clue that only Evelyn can identify. And that's like the missing link, and she's got to find a way to communicate that to us because that's the ticket out of here. Something like that. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's a part of the game or not, but that's just something that I thought of.
let's
Yeah, I
do it.
was thinking of something along those lines too, like me using the ghosts who have been in the area for longer. Maybe they have more influence in that area, and I can use them since I don't have those abilities in that area if I like roll well or something like that.
I like that. That's great. Chase, stars. What worked for
Um,
you?
well, this is my first Gauntlet game, and I really appreciate the open arms that you both have, like explain things to me, really open about collaborating the storytelling together. It was very smooth and easy, and that's something I'm always nervous of doing new games. Clicking with people, and I think that was like one of the biggest things is that this was a comfortable, cool storylines that we started because I can be like comfortable with you guys. So I really appreciate that. I also love the characters. They're great. I think they work well together. I love the setting. The It's very unique despite doing like those tropes, they still feel fresh.
Yeah,
And that's like that collaborative kind of storytelling that I appreciate.
that's great. Yeah, I'm glad you felt welcome. I mean, it's hugely important to me. I felt like when I got involved with the Gauntlet, they didn't really, they were always very friendly and very welcoming, but I didn't feel like they bent over backwards to kind of help new players get involved. So it's become important to me to help new players get acclimated and feel comfortable. And then, so next you would describe wishes. What do you want to see next time, or what would you like to do differently next time?
I don't have besides like the ghost using the ghost in line with what David said about getting clues and stuff like that as like a combined kind of thing. I think that would be really cool. And then like for the mechanic that we talked about earlier with time running out, with like me earning, maybe I could do the ghosts can earn more time if once I start using them and things like that. But that's like future stuff. So far, there's nothing that really came up as a wish.
Right. Yeah. Now, I mean, with the murder having happened, we will
Yeah.
now be able to engage with the mechanics a little bit more. Um, so I get to go now too. Stars to both of you for coming up with amazing characters using very few prompts. So I think that's real. You know, a lot of these games provide lots and lots of prompts. This is a pretty small game. There's not a lot to it. So the fact that you came up with this very rich relationship and set of characters is just fantastic. I think we're going to have so much fun with these folks. Um, and frankly, just signing up for this game that is largely untested or tested at least a little bit. I really appreciate your faith in jumping in to this game. You both have chosen moves for your characters that I've never played with before, so I'm super excited to to really see how the rough and tumble and how the clerical error kind of moves work. So that's my wish for next time, is that we sort of really engage with those individual moves. And that's it for me. I'm going to stop the recording now.
Ooh.
If I remember how to do